Okay, back on the Rich Van Tassel Show, getting right into now week 14 of the NFL season. Going to give you the game breakdowns. All right, starting first, the Buffalo Bills at 6-6. They travel to Philadelphia to play the Eagles at 5-7. Injuries first for the visiting Buffalo Bills. Charles Clay, the tight end, is questionable. Aaron Williams, the safety, is on injury reserve. Stephon Gilmore, cornerback, Carlos Williams, running back, and Nigel Bradham, the linebacker, are all listed as out. For the Eagles, three listed, all the questionables: Nelson Aguilar, the rookie wide receiver, Zach Ertz, the tight end, and Ryan Matthews, the running back. Well, big game for both teams. Buffalo in the thick of that wild card race. They're a game back of the logjam at the top of the wild card. Eagles at 5-7, certainly in contention for the NFC East crown. Now, a lot was made about LaShawn McCoy traveling back to Philadelphia this week. We discussed that yesterday on the YouTube channel. If you want, you can check that out. But now down to business of football. You got to wonder about Philadelphia coming off that win against New England. It looks mighty impressive, but they did get 3 touchdowns, one off a punt return for a touchdown, one off an interception return for a touchdown, and another off of a punt block for a touchdown. So there's 21 points of the 35 they got there. So you got to wonder if they're going to get those points coming into this game. I would expect not. So certainly that win is a bit masked by the return touchdowns. Tyrod Taylor continues to play very well this year. 17 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. They're a much different team when he's on the field. Sam Bradford, on the other hand, has 13 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. DeMarco Murray, though it hasn't been his best year, has gotten going a bit. He is over 500 yards rushing, is the team's top rusher with Ryan Matthews out. With Ryan Matthews a probable. You would expect Matthews is going to play, but I would still look for DeMarco Murray to get a bulk of the carries in this game. But that remains to be seen. So we have a big game. Can Philadelphia carry the momentum off that win in New England? I think they will for this game. A lot of emotions will be involved, but I still think Philadelphia is going to find a way to get this game and keep pace in that NFC East, which has become very interesting now, and interesting not in a good way because all the teams are pretty bad, but certainly that race for the top should be one to keep an eye on the rest of the way. So I like Philadelphia in this game. I think it'll be fairly high scoring, which will be a little unexpected because you have a Buffalo defense that's very good. I'm liking this one to be 31-27 in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, next up, game of the week, and by week I mean WEAK. That's the San Francisco 49ers. They're traveling to Cleveland to play the Browns. The 49ers are 4-8. The Cleveland Browns are 2-10. Injuries first for the visiting 49ers. Garrett Selleck, their tight end, is on injury reserve. Vance McDonald, another tight end, is questionable. Torrey Smith, wide receiver, questionable. Carlos Hyde and Michael Wilhoit, a running back and linebacker respectively, are out for the Browns. 4 listed as questionable: Travis Benjamin, wide receiver; Taylor Gabriel, wide receiver; Joe Hayden, cornerback; Brian Hartline, wide receiver; and out is Andrew Hawkins, another wide receiver. So San Francisco is off that win against Chicago. They're right about where I expected them to be. I had them as a 6-win team this year. They're probably going to get there because they're almost certainly going to win this game. Johnny Manziel is getting the start for Cleveland. We'll see how he can develop the rest of the way. If they think they have something with Johnny Manziel, if they're out to move him in the offseason, that's why I believe he's getting the starts the rest of the way this year, so they can showcase him, Cleveland that is. In this game, I look at the injuries to the wide receivers. 3 of the 4 listed as questionable, 1 of them listed as out, so I'm expecting at least 2 of them not to play. If Joe Hayden can't go, obviously the cornerback, that's going to be an issue for Cleveland as well. And I think San Francisco's carrying a little too much momentum. They've probably lost some games they could have won. They played Arizona very tough the previous week, so they should be raring to go in this game, even though it's on the road. And Cleveland, you would figure if they're due for a win to be this one. I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I like it to be in the area of 31-21. I'm a little surprised that San Francisco would score that many points, but I think they're going to get it done, and I like San Francisco in this game. All right, next up, Detroit at 4-8. They have had a long time to stew about that victory Aaron Rodgers had over them on the previous Thursday game on that Hail Mary. They are traveling to St. Louis to play the Rams, who are 4-8, and they have lost 5 straight games. Injuries first for the visiting Lions, all listed as questionable, 3 of them. Lance Moore, the wide receiver; Ezekiel Ansah, their defensive end; and Calvin Johnson, their wide receiver. For the St. Louis Rams, Wes Welker, the wide receiver, is questionable. Greg Zuerlein, their kicker, is probable. Robert Quinn, Defensive end, TJ McDonald, safety are out, and Lance Kendricks, the tight end, is probable. Now, Detroit was playing very well before they ran into that tough loss against Green Bay. St. Louis is on a 5-game losing streak. So why am I going to go with the Rams? Because I think that Detroit, off the long layoff, are not going to come out with much energy in this game. I think St. Louis is really tired of this 5-game losing streak, and they're going to find a way to get it together. And that's quite difficult to say when you have Nick Foles as your starting quarterback, who's thrown 7 touchdowns for 10 interceptions. He's been terrible this season. Todd Gurley's been their lone bright spot, the rookie. 173 carries for 835 yards, well over 4 yards per carry. Pretty close to 5, actually. Actually, he is over 5 yards per carry. Got to do math real quick, and has 6 touchdowns. So I predicted he would be in the Rookie of the Year conversation and Offensive Rookie of the Year. I didn't have him, but certainly he's right there. So I look for a steady diet of Todd Gurley. He's going to have his hands full against a tough Lions run defense that has come on and was the key to that 3-game winning streak they were on before they lost to the Packers. But I think Todd Gurley is going to show why he was the best running back in this draft, much better than Melvin Gordon. And I expect him to get the job done in this game and look for him to go over 100 yards. And I like St. Louis to pull off a win and end their losing streak. I'd like this score to be 28-23. Okay, next, the New Orleans Saints at 4-8 travel to Tampa Bay to play the resurgent Buccaneers at 6-6. Injuries first for the visiting New Orleans Saints. Keenan Lewis, their cornerback, is on injury reserve. Willie Snead, wide receiver, is questionable. Mark Ingram, running back, is also on injury reserve. Donnell Ellerbe, linebacker, and Brandon Cooks, wide receiver, questionable. For Tampa Bay, Levante David, linebacker, questionable. Vincent Jackson, wide receiver, probable. Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle, questionable. Tampa Bay, I thought they were going to struggle with a team that was desperate coming into their place last week against the Atlanta Falcons. They were able to get that win, which was very impressive. They have another division opponent, a team with talent that just hasn't manifested this year. They'd like nothing more than to put an end to Tampa Bay's season, and Tampa Bay also has the rookie quarterback, which we'll have to see how he handles that, and I expect the number 1 pick that Jameis Winston will give some added motivation to the New Orleans Saints. Why that is, I don't know, but these players get motivated by different things. You never know. Tampa Bay is right there in the playoff chase. They can really take a step forward, get to 7-6 today with that loss to Minnesota yesterday. They can climb within a game of the wild card race, and depending on what Seattle does, they can certainly be right there in the thick of things. So a very big game for Tampa Bay. I'm interested to see how these young players are going to handle it. It's going to be an interesting one, and I think Tampa Bay is going to find a way to get it done. Jameis Winston is really playing like a true winner. That's why he was the number 1 pick. And some way, somehow, they're going to figure out this game, and it's going to be a tough loss for the New Orleans Saints, as they've had a bunch of them this season. I am taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 21-20 on some late Jameis Winston magic in this game. Okay, next up, the Tennessee Titans at 3-8 are traveling to New York to play the Jets, who are 7-5. Tennessee got the win last week. It was one of their first wins at home in a long time, and it was a nice victory for them over the Jacksonville Jaguars. New York Jets came off that thrilling victory, come from behind victory over the New York Giants, and they are right in the thick of things in the AFC playoff picture. Injuries first for the for the Tennessee Titans. Dexter McCluster, running back, probable. Kendall Wright, wide receiver, out. For the New York Jets, Calvin Pryor, safety, probable. Darrelle Revis, cornerback, probable. Marcus Williams, cornerback, questionable. Calvin Pace, linebacker, questionable. Very important for the game for the New York Jets not to look past the Tennessee Titans, who were 3-8. I don't expect them to do so. Ryan Fitzpatrick has made me eat my words this year. Does have 11 interceptions, but to 22 touchdowns, he's playing very well. He's developed a nice chemistry with Brandon Marshall. Those two love to play with each other, and it manifested last week on the final drive in which they tied the game against the New York Giants. Marshall, with over 80 receptions and over 1,000 yards, has 10 touchdowns already. He's once again having a very good season and showing why he is one of the premier wide receivers in this league and a quality professional player. Jets are going to be boosted by the addition of Darrelle Revis. He's at probable, coming back from that concussion, and look for him to shut down anyone who lines up beside him. Kendall Wright is out, and Tennessee has no wide receivers that really threaten you. Marcus Mariota is starting to come along in his rookie year, and I expect he's going to run into a buzzsaw today against the Jets, or on Sunday, that is, against the Jets, who have a good defensive unit, and especially the front seven. I'm liking the Jets I think they may be a bit sluggish early, but they're going to pull away because they realize how important this game is, not to give one back. I'm taking the Jets 28-14.